Smart Muses. Welcome to Smart Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're talking about something that makes me very, 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 very happy and nostalgic. It is Cahir Castle, all the way over in Ireland. And I am joined once again from the future, all the way from the future, the man, the Viking himself, Steve Kenobi.
Hi.
Hey, how's the future?
Gray.
Oh, well,
Gray, but it's getting warmer.
finally. And but I guess since the fact that we have a future is something good, unless you're Timon Flip who wants the meteor to come and take us all out. But hey, you know what's exciting is Steve, you are actually a heck of a lot closer to Cahir than I am because while you are not in Ireland, you are definitely closer. If you would fly, you could probably be there in less than an hour. But that is a story for another day. Let's go ahead and start sharing it. Everyone coming in the chat and everyone listening on the replay, glad to see that you are here and good times. Let's get ourselves orientated. There we go. We are once again going to Ireland. I swear we're going to go somewhere else. We will be going somewhere else eventually. We're probably going to be going back to Iceland and to France, maybe a bit of Germany, but back to Cahir because I really love Cahir Castle. It is probably one of the coolest castles ever, and Ireland has some of the greatest castles ever. If you ever go visit, they're everywhere. So let's zoom in here. You can see there's Cahir down there in the south of Ireland, and boom, in County Tipperary. It is a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go without your mother. It is in a different county than Cork. Here's Cork. Here's Cahir. So if you're hanging out in Cork the way I would be, and I do not drive in Ireland, you can take a bus. You cannot take a train to Cahir, but you can take the bus directly up there, and that is what I did. And then I have friends near Cashel. I went to visit after this particular trip, and they were able to pick me up in their car. So this is where we are. And boom. Look at that castle. Imagine you're minding your own business and you have this in the middle of your town. I love this so much. And people talk about Blarney Castle, and as you saw with my Teresa travels, Blarney Castle is kind of cool. Don't get me wrong. But this is probably the best castle to visit in Ireland because it is so intact. It's just the best. I'm going to see if I can get a better shot of this. Would this work? Oh, no, that's just me. That sucked. Shit. Oh, pardon my French. What did I do? I've ruined the whole... Oh, there it is. All right, so here's Cahir Castle. And this particular picture that I took, this was very early in the morning, because here's my big sad sorry story. In Ireland, it's not as bad as Norway, but it's pretty daggone close. In the summertime, it doesn't get dark till about 11:30, and it gets light about 4 in the morning. And I just can't sleep. I have a very, very difficult time sleeping when I'm around a lot of sunlight. It takes me a while to adjust, just like any kind of jet lag. And on this particular trip, I was there to go to a conference in Cork, so I was only there for 5 days. So I was not able to adjust. So this is at the butt crack of dawn when I was able to get this beautiful, beautiful picture of Cahir Castle from a distance. And it is one of the most intact castles because the dude who was in charge of it when Oliver Cromwell came and burned down and took out everything when he was being Oliver Cromwell, he surrendered. So yay. That's the bad news. He surrendered. The good news is it left us this castle. It was originally built in 11 AD. And, oh, There's you can see it a bit closer up. And this is not my picture, as I say here, but since this gives an aerial view, you can get a good idea of just how, first of all, badass this castle is. And you can also see the water around it. So it had the whole moat action, which was a huge protection if you had castles back in the day. And it wasn't just something you might see in movies or in your toy sets. If you ever had one of those castle toy sets, you know exactly to what I am referring. And you can see, let me see here. You have the moat, and this is the outside of it. We're going to be kind of walking through here. It was a huge part of its protection that, and I should know these names, but I don't. Well, there's the keep, there's the different layers of protection of the castle. So when it would be invaded, so like if this fell, then you'd all run in here, and then if that fell, you would all run in here. But also, you can see that there was in these layers. This is the outer wall. This is the next outer wall. You have these towers, and all along here, where archers could be, and then more in there, and you had the high ground, and we do endorse the high ground here at Miss Martin Muses. Now, do you have any castles like this in Norway, Steek?
Not like that. We do have some forts and stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, nothing too fancy.
Vikings were very simple.
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, but y'all didn't get invaded too much.
Well, we didn't get invaded by Sweden and Germany.
Oh,
Not that castles would have done us any good with that one, though.
Yeah, that was a little more modern, a little more present.
Yeah, came in through Sweden that time too.
Oh, well, Sweden handed y'all over. That was kind of sucked.
Yeah, stopped fleeing Jews on the border as well and handed them over to the Nazis, and then pretended it never happened after the war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I never knew about it till you pointed it out. So it kind of worked that they were able to. Dear me. Yeah. So they sucked. So let's see. Is there anything else you can see? Oh, yeah. You have the courtyard over here, and the main residences were in this area, and you're going to see as we get into it. But first, what I have is I'm going to take you on a little bit of a tour of the outside. And like a lot of these, you can see it's built on rock and also very high up. So if you're minding your own business and you're like, let's invade, it's the cool thing to do. You have to not just go up and around these, but look at all these holes and up here and along here and these here arrows coming down on you. And not just arrows, they would drop rocks, they would drop a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, everything was against you coming in. This is a very well defended area, and these windows, they were very narrow because it was very difficult to get bows and arrows in, but very easy to get them out. So you will see those in castles. Here's another part of it. And it's big. As you saw when I did that aerial area, you really, really have to walk around to get to these things. It takes forever, but that's just the way it is. Another view here, and see those little square holes. And it would suck to be you if you tried to invade. And you see here's another little area, and these cross things, again, very practical because of its defensive purposes. The big bad, sad news is once things like cannon started playing a role, it made these kind of defenses relatively obsolete. Another view up here on top of the looking up. I did have pictures of some swans and other things around here in the water. I couldn't find them. So somewhere behind me, there were really pretty swans swimming around.
Swans are psychos.
Well, yes, they are. On the other hand, as long as you stay away from them, they'll stay away from you.
Not always.
Mm. Well, you would know better than I. But the swans that you'll find around Cahir Castle, they're used to being fed by tourists and everything. So yeah, they'll be that way. Look who's here. It is Jacob Ironside giving me a rose. Hello, Teresa, he says. Why, hello. We are talking about Cahir Castle, one of the coolest castles ever. That no one ever knows or ever talks about. So if you're running your own business in Ireland and everyone's like, Blarney Castle, it's like, go up to Cahir. This is where it's happening. And I think you can also see why this is such a popular site for filming. It's just perfect. It's so many different areas. Like in Excalibur, I have some pictures from Excalibur that I'll show you later. They just would be having, they just set up here and then just all fight and stuff. It just was a great backdrop, and Braveheart used something you're going to see in a bit. But once again, look at these windows. Ain't nothing getting out, or rather in there. Check that out. You see, I just love this. Look at these towers. So much fun. So much fun. You ain't messing around with that. So you got these dudes on the top here, you got these here and these here, and you can see how it's in the shape of the cross, not because they're feeling all holy, but it is very practical for shooting out of. And we have a Corkman in the house. We have a genuine, real Corkman in the house, not me who would just live there. He is born and bred. Greetings from Cork, Miss Martin muses, and fellow nerds. Cahir is great, but it's not Cork. True. I wish Cork had an awesome castle like this, but for reasons it doesn't. I think there's Elizabeth's Fort, which I like. It had only become open to the public in the last 10 years or so, and it's over by St. Finbarr's Cathedral. Good stuff. Oh, everyone's saying hello. Mountains of Elysium says, can't stay long, just drive by for a few minutes to leave a like. Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate that. Everyone, please give a like, share, and a subscribe. And I always get a little self-conscious sometimes when there's an Irishman in the chat, because I know you all really know this even better than I do. But Cahir's great. If you get a chance to stay in Cahir Hotel, it's also a fantastic old hotel. I like it because it's one of those rare places that will do single occupancy. It really sucks when you're traveling solo and you want to get a hotel room, you have to pay for two, even if you're one. It's like, that sucks. Cahir Hotel offers single occupancy. And if you go across the street, there is a lovely place where you can get some tea and scones. Barry's Court Castle, says Mountains of Elysium. Charles Fort is pretty good too. Oh, hell yes. Charles Fort. Now, when I did Kinsale Mountains of Elysium, I showed Charles Fort. That's Kinsale, technically. I got a view. Well, I'm sure you've done this. If you go to the dock beach in Kinsale, you get a fantastic view of Charles Fort and St. James Fort. Barry's Court Castle. Let me have a quick Google. Off the top of my head, I don't know that. Oh, of course, I forgot about Blackrock Castle in Ireland, but now they've changed it into like a wedding venue and a observatorium or something.
Observatory.
Thank you. Barry's Court. There we are. Barry's Court Castle, Cashlawn Court on Varig is a castle located in County Cork in Southern Ireland, close to the Council of Carrick. Oh, I know that one. Okay. Yeah, maybe I will visit there the next time. I really am determined the next time I go to Ireland, I will either kidnap my sister who can drive in Ireland, or I will hire a driver. because I really want to go out to those places, and I can't drive over there, so that's sad. Jacob Ironside says, "This is cool. I'm working on an artwork for my graphic novel of a castle. Woohoo! Well, look at stuff of Care. There's a reason why it's so well used and in movies and the like. It's just so cool. Oh, as you can see, another view. I think this might be another corner of the castle. There is a path here going around it, and the grounds are gorgeous. Dagnabbit. There is another tour where if you don't want to hire your own driver, it's what's it, Vagabond tours, where you can get like up to 8 people, and they're really cool. They'll go wherever you tell them to go, and just as long as everyone agrees on it, that's fine. That's another way to do it. I do have a connection though with a private driver in Ireland, and I'd probably use him next time. Sadly, my best friend from Ireland, she lives in Dublin and she works, so not available. Alrighty. Now, this gives you a bit of a better view of the actual town of Cahir, as well as what it looks like as you are approaching it. We are going to be walking from the very beginning, from the keep all the way up to the inner parts. There's the bus stop. That's where I got off on the bus. And you can see other tourists in cars in the water here. Let me make sure I'm getting all the chat. Mountains Elysium says, Black Rock Castle does have a nice restaurant, though. I took my wife's parents there for a meal when they came to Ireland. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I'll bet you it does. I do. Because I've seen it. It just was weird to me that that's what it is now. Well, wasn't it always a restaurant, or was it close? I'm trying to think what it was in the 80s. But yeah, it's got a restaurant, and again, a very good wedding venue. That's what they were advertising in. And yeah, if you're gonna get married and get pictures, take it in front of a friggin' castle. And if you don't want to have to pay for it, go find a castle in the middle of a field. That's what the poor man's fancy castle wedding pictures are. So here we are approaching. Boom. Okay, this is me just walking in at the bottom of the castle, in the entrance. Now, you're minding your own business. This is the way you get into the castle. If you're trying to invade, this is where the only way you could get in through the doors, because you can't get up over the walls, and all these dudes are sitting there shooting at you and all sorts of stuff. And you're going to see later that there's a murder hole also, which sucks. Mountain is a
murder hole is not to be it's not to be confused with Kamala Harris's mouth. Anyway,
you heard it here first at Miss Martin Muses. I was actually afraid you were going to say glory hole. Yeah, you don't want to stick.
Same thing.
But what's coming out of a murder hole, you don't want to have your male parts anywhere near. All right. Mountains of Elysium says, when stood outside Charles Fort for our wedding photos. Yay! You see? Yes, Charles Fort. Oh, gorgeous. Very good backdrop for that. And for those of you that don't know, well, actually, first watch my conceal. Give me the views. We need to get those watch hours up. But also, it's about 20 minutes from Cork City. Totally worth it. Stay in a nice B&B there. It'll be fun. Maybe a little more than 20 minutes. I'm thinking about from Grange, where we lived. I want a castle, says Biggles Met. Well, you know what? You will get a castle. Because I tell you what, true story. If you ever show up in Ireland, remember, one of these days I'm going to show up in Dublin and say, anyone just show up and I'll show you the stuff. My best friend who lives in Thurles, or her parents still live in Thurles, over by Cashel. Her boyfriend, or rather, her boyfriend when we were 15, at his A B&B. His mom still, his family runs a B&B and it's still there. They're still friends, so we're all cool. And he's a farmer. At that B&B, they have a castle just in their backyard. It's a tower castle, but it's a castle. And like a bunch of Egypt, yeah, we would run around in there and have loads of fun. I would go back and visit during the summer. So I'll give you that castle. No one will bother us there. We'll stay at the B&B. Biggles also says, I have also come up with a pub. It's called the Heavy Drink. Oh, the Devi Hinker from Black Clover, episode 28. Oh my gosh, yes. Biggles is going to be my guest on Pub Crawl on the week of the 26th, actually. Yeah, he will be on the second half. I think we said Thursday or Friday. I forget. The first half will be La Reina Creole. Mountains of Elysium says, I drove down to Kinsale for breakfast on Sunday morning. Lovely town. Oh, that just makes me want to cry. That makes me want to cry to be so close to Kinsale and to be in Cork City. I just got to go back. That is awesome. Yes, true story. I'll show you a picture. You know what the dumbest picture on the planet, though? Me and my bestie took a picture and her boyfriend took it of us with our feet dangling over the edge. So we were just sitting on the edge with our feet dangling like la-di-da. We could have fallen off and died. But then again, we were idiots. Thursday, I think. Yes, you are correct. We did decide on Thursday. Yes. And I definitely look forward to that. It's going to be some good times. And I forget, did you tell me what the subject was? I've slept since then. But yes, it'll be a good time. And as we get, this is looking down into it. I was like up on the wall, so you can really get a better idea of the defensive nature of this area. So if you have to mind your own business while driving up here, invading up here, here's the only way in. Look how surrounded you are. Look at all these windows, again, where you can't really shoot in, but they can shoot out, all up here on the wall, not to mention where I'm standing. Over here on the left, that's where the moat is. That's where the water is. It's not cool. Gaming and streaming, I think. I think so too. Yes. And the reason why I said driving up here, because you're going to see a picture, I think, at the end where the last duel was some scenes were filmed here, and it's when Matt Damon and his wife, they're coming in for this like little festival thing, and they're arriving in a carriage, and they are driving up here. It's just a fantastic scene.
Underrated movie.
Yes. It's a great, I mean, actually, I would say it's not just underrated. It is a magnificent movie. It is so historically accurate, it killed me. You just don't see that nowadays. But like a lot of movies, they marketed it so wrong that people have turned me off. I didn't see it till Steek saw it and told me I had to see it. And then I watched it on an airplane, and then I rented it.
Yeah, they marketed it as a feminist movie or something.
Mm-mm.
It isn't. It is a story told from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is from the woman's perspective.
Yeah, one's from the woman, and one's from Adam Driver, who holy crud is amazing in it, and even Matt Damon was good in the role.
Yeah, Ben Affleck was not good.
No, he was completely miscast.
He cannot do an English accent.
No, and he can't even do an English anything. If you think of a French king type, it was awful.
Yeah, French king type, sounding like an American trying to speak English.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just weird.
Yeah. Now, Matt Damon mercifully didn't really try to. He just kind of tried to do a more neutral accent. But what was so impressive about that movie is when I studied it, I wanted to study it after seeing the movie. They stuck so closely to the historical records of what went down because a lot of it had to do with the trial. They had all the accounts of it, the transcripts, and the battle at the end was exactly as it was described, even to the very last thing that Adam Driver's character says and then Matt Damon's character says. And if you want to see a badass medieval full armor, maces, and all of that, the way it really, really would have been, I can't think of anything better.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's see what I. Okay. Oh, this is me looking back. You can see the town. Yay! Where you can also get some cigarettes and craft. Yeah, Castle View Crafts, and that's a little pub, and you can also get yourself some tea. But again, showing if you're trying to invade, and you're the poor bastard trying to invade, and I'm the sitting there with a bow and arrow, you're kind of screwed. Oh, just showing again that even along here, yeah. But look how pretty it is nowadays. And then this is a coat of arms that's over the entrance. Oh, people are saying hi to each other. Yay! Yeah, we got ourselves a Corkman. We're from Cork, mighty, mighty Cork. I took a picture of this because if you look really closely, I can't zoom in. Oh, this fort was attacked. Cromwell did get a few shots in, and you can see in here there is a cannonball embedded in the wall. So there. Oh, and see this? This is like a gutter. So the water would come out and not fall down on people.
Is that what water says though? Voof?
Yes, it does.
Oh,
Water
I'm keeping that in mind.
Oh no, you're gonna do that for our role-playing game, aren't you? For those of you that don't know, Steve is our resident DM.
Yeah, we finished up a Conan game yesterday, and last Conan session, and we started it 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and it's more fun than D&D. It
yes.
uses similar rules, almost identical, but it's so much more fun because it's not all cutesy and PG-13 or whatever you want to call it. It's actually gritty and
Yeah. And of course, the way we play, we are the most toxic.
Yeah.
Our characters are.
You certainly stuck to the gritty.
Yeah. For those that think that men are toxic, they've not seen what we are capable of in a.
It's pretty much. It's similar. Like, it's not a gender thing. Both genders are fucked up. You know.
Yeah. Mountains, I know kind of what you're talking about. If you want to see a medieval battle, stand outside Hillbillies after closing time by the fountain on Grand Parade. Yes. I wouldn't know because remember, I was I was a little girl most of the time I was in Ireland. When I left for real, when we moved away back to America, I was 13. And when I came back, I was like a kid. And nowadays, I don't know if I would survive. But Grand Parade, that's the place to be. That's where they all have protests. I saw y'all doing protests out there, the Irish, the Cork people. There used to be a cinema at Grand Parade, but it's now closed. The cinema where I saw Ghostbusters. All right. Oh, just more. And yeah, see people taking pictures. Just remember every hole is not a glory hole. It is a bow and arrow coming out.
Every hole is an opportunity. Sorry, had to.
What do we have? Oh, Genie Mac. All right. Yeah, and see here, you see people could drop things on you. Look, boom. Um, though I'll show you the open to the murder hole when we get there. And this is us walking in. Ah, now this is very famous, if you will, because you've probably seen this 10, 100 million, 1,000 times in movies. They love to film here, and I'll show you in a second where the portcullis is. They also like to film there. And look, yay, we can drop things on you. Oh no, if there is a hole, you fill it, says Biggles Met. I know what you mean, but I also know what that also could also mean. Ah, there's the murder hole. This is inside. So you open it up and throw things down. They would, well, they'd just throw down anything they could, but hot boiling oil was always a good
And
choice.
sometimes the rocks or whatever would follow a chute and uh, fall out from different holes in the wall itself. I think.
Yes, they could. Not this particular one, but I know. Yes, that would also be a thing. Yeah, and they let gravity do their work. Yes. Gosh, I need to go look at one of them. Oh my goodness gracious! I guess you, Jacob Ironside. Holy moly!
Yeah, I just had to say they got a bit stuffy. So, yeah.
Oh no!
But filling experience,
No.
deep conversation, isn't it? You know the drill.
I try to be a good person.
I
Yeah.
didn't say anything wrong.
Mountains of Elysium. This is badass. We may have been the same showing. I saw Ghost Ghostbusters at the Capitol Center Grand Parade when it came out. Yeah. Well, do you remember when it started off and every time they would say, "Who you gonna call?" and we all yelled, "Ghostbusters!" Hell, we probably were, because the showing I saw was one of those afternoon ones where it was just a bunch of kids without chaperones. um, that is also the cinema where I saw Return of the Jedi. My mama took us there to see it. So yeah, good memories. Really good memories. True story. That's also where I saw the movie Mannequin in 1987. Here it is. Here it is. Check this out. Check that out right there. Of course, you mind your own business. You've made it this far, and then boom, that just comes down, and no one's getting through that. And you could see the whole double door thing. This was common. You get through one, then you have to get through the other. St. Kevin's. You know where St. Kevin's is? Glendalough has that too. It is a monastery, but yeah, they didn't want to get screwed either. This was used in Braveheart, and I tried to find a picture, but I couldn't find a picture of it. Mountains of Elysium says yes. Afternoon sharing it, everyone was shouting along with the movie. Yep.
What for Mannequin?
No, for Ghostbusters.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I was getting word that Mannequin was perceived better than it actually is.
No. No, Ghostbusters. Yeah, and it was packed to the hill, and yeah, we all were just yelling along with it. Those
actually, it would be awesome if the whole cinema shouted and cheered during Mannequin.
Oh shit. Well, and do you remember, Mountains, that they had a smaller cinema up above it where they would show the less popular ones, and it was very, very tiny. And that was where we saw a few of the other ones, or once a movie had done its run, it would go to that second one. That's where my folks ditched us to go see Star Trek 4. I remember that. Oh, here's
the one with the whales.
That is the one with the whales.
I actually liked that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a good movie. Yeah. Oh gosh, those were good times. Yes, Jacob Ironside says, "Oh, you can get through that. You just need a giant, a dread pirate, and a Spaniard on a revenge quest." Thank you for the Princess Bride reference. Yeah, but again, you can see why they would want this to be film. They would use this for filming. I think I've said it once, I've said it twice, I'll probably just keep saying it over and over again. But this particular here and the portcullis and the mechanism above it, I think that, speaking of which, boom, there it is. That's how it would work. The chains, and then they pull it up. Again, all very intact, used in filming. Don't you love it? Check out this sign. Mind your head. They're worried about us bumping our heads. And then you've got these things all around.
That's a thing with old castles and buildings like that. The doorways were very low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not just because people were smaller, it was just it was a safety thing, a protection thing. Like it's harder to get through. Yeah. All right, where am I? Oops, wrong picture. All right, here we go. There we are. Okay, this is another view of the gate and coming in. So if you didn't get hit by something here, then you go through one door, then you have to get past the portcullis thingy with the big gate. Mountains of Elysium says they added a few more screens before it shut down. Oh, they did. It had 6 screens for a while, but in later years it was like walking in gravity boats. Your feet would stick to the floor from spilled cokes. Yuck. Yeah. Yeah. Good times. And then there was the one on St. Patrick Street. That was the other cinema. I don't know where the cinema is now that I'm thinking about it. All right. And then, yay, we're inside. So this is the inside of the castle and open ground. So this people would hang out, they would chill, they would be here. And there's several different little buildings that you would live within. So
Funny how their cannons are aimed at their own castle, though.
yeah, this picture actually doesn't make any sense, or the whole thing doesn't make sense because, and
It's
would you
like
really?
so 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 that's how they lost, and that's why there's a cannonball stuck in the wall.
Yeah. And if you had a cannon, would it be like on the inside of the wall? Yeah, you're. I never even thought about that. Oh gosh, yeah. But this building here, this is the dining area, and we're gonna see some pictures of that, and then some residential areas here. And during its heyday, this is where you'd have like all the crafting people, you'd have the blacksmiths, you'd have the cooks, all of that. And for that, I want to show you. Oh, not yet. Okay, not my pick. When it says not my pick, it means I decided to grab a stock photo because I either didn't have it or they had a bit of a better one than I. This is going in to by the dining area, and you can see here this is actually a fireplace thing with a chimney. This is where they would cook. It was far smarter to cook outside or even completely away from the building. You would even find that in big houses and manors, because that way you wouldn't burn down the place if something happened. And it was close enough that you could then walk over here and then serve. Though in Ireland it would be cold and wet and rainy, so you would be cold, wet, and rainy. A castle video without Shadiversity. Well, I guess it's possible. I mean, I'm he's welcome. He's welcome on any time. I'm not entirely sure he knows who I am, but that's great. Yes, thank you for being here, Deef. This is Cahir Castle. I love my castles in Ireland. And you can see all the just the little houses and all the little layers inside. These places were like little cities. It was safe to be. Safe to be. Okay, this is where you can see it a little bit better. Look at this fire area and the doors. Once again, not my pick. I love this. At first, you're thinking, oh, look, it's Jesus. It's like, well, yes, it is a cross because they were all Christians, very good Catholics, but it's not actually a cross here. This is a window going, this is a window and just looks black and a cross. This is a residential area. People would stand behind that, and you could have an arrow here, 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 here. So if you were trying to run in to get, rape the women or something, you would just get the shite arrowed out of you. You would become a human pincushion. It was a safety thing. Mountains of Leading says those cannons were there for psychological warfare. Any attacking army would say, "What the fuck? Are they shooting their own people? They must be crazy fuckers. Forget it. I'm going home."
Yeah, they're there to keep up the curfew.
Yeah. And I wish I could say it in a Cork accent because it doesn't do justice. It does not do justice to just say that in my accent. It does not. Biggle says, all right, I will have to catch you next stream. Got to head out. Oh, well, thank you very much. Always good to see you. Thank you, Biggles. Oh, speaking of a man with an Irish accent, but not a Cork accent, it is Potato Revan. Hello, Potato Revan. Great to see you here. We are back in Ireland. Oh, look, I tried to say it right without spending too much emphasis on the R. That window is for arrows back in the day. It also looks like a monastery from a distance. Yes, there you go. Yeah, you see? See, we were actually taught history back in the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they kind of had a bit of a respect for the clergy, for the religious back then. It was, for lack of a better word, bad luck to kill a nun. I don't know. There was some respect for the sacred rather. And Potato Raven says, laugh out loud, it's not Cork. So politely, it's Cork. Yeah. Well, and with the air sound, I remember Cork. I'll make an idiot of myself if I try to say it. But yes, Cork. And everyone's saying greeting while Biggles is saying goodbye. You mountains. Yes. Hey there, Jacob. Yep. I will say this about both Potato Revan and Mountains of Elysium. They do not have a Dublin accent. It is an unDublin accent. Well, obviously, that's a whole other ball game. All right. Oh, Potato Revan, thank you for bringing us some information. Until 1857, oh my gosh, 37, I can't read. Then, laugh out loud, then it became a national pastime to off as many as you can. You said it, not me. Yes, you are correct. Because when the Reformation, I call it revolt, because it wasn't a Reformation, but that's a whole other different story. Yeah, if you were Catholic, you were FUCK'd, ED'd, and of course, nuns, priests, religious. It was a capital crime, and yeah, they would rape nuns, all sorts of stuff. It was awful. Yes, it was a national pastime to off them. Up Cork, yes, mighty Cork. Cork's colors are red, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah, because I like.
Now I know.
Yeah.
Like the whole town, or
no? Well, like their well, yeah.
Oh,
it's
the
like
football team.
Well, the football team, but also like the flag and everything. It's red. Yeah. So the football team also has red, and the hurling team and
yeah. Oh, now I get it.
The T-shirt. What did you think? Never mind what you thought.
I had nothing to think. You just said their colors were red.
Oh, well, that's what I
could have been. It's always red there.
Yeah. Here, check this out. This is on the inside. So this is right beyond where you just saw steps going up, steps going down, and in that same kind of corkscrew manner. And the reason why they would always go in this particular direction rather than the other way around is it was also a defensive manner. Because if you're minding your own business and you're wanting to attack, the dudes on the stairs, they were all right-handed back then, and so if you tried to, hit them, you would come across this pillar. But if you were defending, you'd be able to hack down. Now, when I say they were all right-handed, was because if you weren't right-handed, they made you right-handed back then, so you had a distinct advantage. These were defensive. Potato ribbon. Waterford is blue and white. Oh, well, okay. I didn't say it. You did. Okay, yes. Waterford is blue and white. Waterford also has magnificent crystal. Waterford crystal. Potato ribbon says, fun fact, one of the Aran Islands completely converted to Anglicanism during the famine after they had food to grow. The Anglican churches were empty and the Catholic churches were full. Yeah. That was the other thing. It's being and it was being Catholic that killed you in the famine. If you had to say fine, whatever, if food was the choice, and then yes, they went back to being Catholic. Mountains of Lithium. My great-great-grandfather did the reverse conversion at a soup kitchen. He was supposed to become Protestant to get fed. Instead, he married the owner's daughter and she became Catholic. That's what I call revenge. Damn. Yeah. Yeah, imagine that. Like, to get food, it's like, fine, I'll be a Protestant. And we've, in history, of course, it was both ways in many other different places. Conversions like that don't tend to stick. They don't tend to be sincere. Potato ribbon. The steps are also not equal, so you get used to them and become used, but the enemy would fall. That is also correct. So be careful when you visit these places. You'll break your neck. They are uneven. Like one step, Blarney Castle is notorious for that. Yeah, like one step will be like a few inches, another one will be bigger, but it's pretty badass. The planning that went into these, it wasn't random. Okay, this is inside the dining hall area, made into kind of a bit of a museum. So obviously this is not the way it would have looked, and this is not the original furniture. And you can see here all sorts of pictures, and hey, this is what happened this time. So you can learn some history as you go through. Potato Ribbon said, my 4 times great-grandpa, his father-in-law was titled, and he was Catholic. He broke into the manor house and emptied it out, and apparently he tied him to a chair, but had a blanket on him to keep him warm. Dude.
That's considerate.
Yeah, and close the doors after him.
Yeah. If you tie people up, just make sure they're warm.
Yeah. Well, that is nice because, hey, if you've been to Ireland, you know that's no joke. I mean, because I know you're in a cold place, Steak, but Ireland has like a special kind of cold because it's like a combination of just constant cold with wet because it's just always windy and wet. That's why I got addicted to hot soups and things because there's nothing like having a hot bowl of soup after you're freezing.
It's the same here though because I'm next to the same ocean.
That's true. But you do tend to get more ice.
During winter, yeah.
Yeah.
But before that, no, there's a lot of storms and winds and yeah, very.
You mean you're telling me the wind did it?
Yep.
Okay. Potato Ribbon says those wood joists on the wall were actually a second floor left. I'm sorry to sound like a know-it-all. I studied history. No, please do. Please do. Because
if you know it, you know it.
Yeah. And if I don't know it, I don't know it. And this is your history. Sometimes people are like, well, you're a historian. It's like, yes, I am, but I can't. You have to have areas of specialization. I think that's magnificent. Potato Ribbon, thank you. And as Steve said, if you know it, you know it. Never say sorry. Please help me. Because that also makes it a more enjoyable experience for my for the listeners, for the people in the chat. Again, just more you can see with the walls. That's where people would stand. It was not uncommon that doors and entrances would be well off of the the ground. Now, they wouldn't have these handy dandy stairs, but so I, you could like pull. You'd have a ladder, and you could pull it in after you. That was also another defensive thing. And the one up there on the left does have some stairs going up. Um, I'm thinking of some of those towers, like what you would find at Glendalough. That's where you really see it. And St. Bridget's Cathedral has one of them too, where the actual entrance is like halfway up the tower. Mountains of Elysium said, I had a Georgian country, not the state, working in my house. He said he had lived in Russia but never been cold till he came to Ireland. Yeah. I think it has to do with just how you're just kind of soaking wet. That's just all there is to it. And my brother-in-law said something similar, and he used to live in Chicago. And if you know anything about Chicago winters, he said he'd never been as cold as he was in Ireland. Here's you can see another view. And just know people, the reason why I'm able to take these pictures and stuff, because you're able to climb on these things. You can go and walk on them. It is so much fun. You get great views, but it's like, hey, look at me. I'm in a castle. Yay. This is me looking down into the other courtyard area. If you remember from the original picture, this was another part. And these little tower things we saw from the other direction, their defensive nature. Potato Ribbon says the battlements on the top of the tower were not allowed to have flames on them because you can see, but the enemy can also count how many of you there are by blinking of the flames. Oh, didn't think about that. Yes. Yeah. Had to be careful. Our tour guide, when we were there, also said that back in the day, they might like toss in a dead body if there was a siege, because if the person had died of the plague or an infectious illness, it was like a primitive form of biological warfare.
Yeah, they do that in the Flesh and Blood movie.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot plague victims into the castle on a catapult.
Yep. Which is kind of grim, but it makes a sense. Oh, just showing the stairs. And I think actually you can see they are uneven. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, look. See, isn't this just cool? And this goes all around the edge. So you can walk around and go into these little towers, and very well kept. In this area, they have some information, like a little informational video you can watch. I remember that. And you can take a guided tour. You don't have to, but you can. Some castles you have to take a guided tour, like Trim Castle, because of safety reasons. Check that out. This is me in the courtyard looking back at the area we just were. I mean, how badass. How awesome. Potato Ribbon says, it didn't have to die to illness. It's the flies will get attracted to them. And in one battle, they fired back the heads over the wall, which inspired Tolkien for Gondor. True point too.
Like, heads up. We're going to attack.
Precisely. Well, I'd get freaked out if a bunch of heads were flying over the wall.
Yeah, it's not common.
Yeah. You can see, look at these pretty bushes. You can get a better look at the tower thing. Yeah, I guess some of these we weren't allowed in, obviously, probably for safety. Yeah, and see, look, the way these steps would go up and around and up along. So I think those are warnings. Yep, warning. Like, be careful, idiots. Don't trip and fall and do something stupid. Mountains of Elysium said the uneven stairs also may have just been crappy stonemason. Yes, never underestimate that. What's a war crime between friends? Ouch. Heads up, yes, heads up. Oh my. Oh, here's another view. Oh, there's the swans. Right there to the right. You can see them there in the moat area. Yay, I did capture some swans. Pretty, pretty animals, even though Steve says they're psycho.
Yeah, they are psycho. Saw a video of one drowning a seagull just willy nilly. Just the seagull swam too close to him, and the gull just bit him and dunked him under. And then once the seagull stopped moving, it swam away.
That's actually kind of cool. I mean, well, you don't like seagulls, so maybe
no,
swans don't like them either.
No, they probably don't. But it's still it's not what nice birds do.
No, that's not. Potato Reverend says they actually store stuff in them towers, lights and chains and signs, expensive stuff. Probably. Oh no, Potato Reverend. If they were from Kilkenny, they were crappy masons. The poor people of Kilkenny. What did they ever do? Oh no, Potato Reverend says Miss Martin will get this joke. Here we go. What do you call a Kilkenny man who's never been to Waterford? Unemployed. Yeah. Well, if there's any Kilkenny people listening who need to be defended, please come and defend yourself.
Yeah, it also sounds like a South Park reference, doesn't it?
Oh, Kilkenny. Look at that. Just another little tower housey thing. Another view. And I think we're getting toward the end. Oh, yeah. Once again, this is where part of the way we came in. We came up on this side, up around, entered here, up through here, and this is where the portcullis and everything was. And look at those houses. Look, pretty colors. I think, yeah, right there's the hotel, the Cahir Hotel. Mountains of Elysium says, I'd say lucky. Oh, dear. Is this the same picture? Oh, no, this is a little bit of a closer up picture where you can see the entrance where you come in. I think that's why I took it. Oh, you can get a better look at those stairs that are going up. Yeah, sometimes they won't even be attached to each other's steps. It'll just be these rocks jutting out. Gosh, I just can't get enough of this. Yeah, you can see where all the birds, the birds have been there, but why not? It's great. I love it. I think it was when I was in Cashel. The pigeons love living in these places over at the Rock of Cashel. And if I was a pigeon, I would too. Potato Reverend says, oh, did you see the murder hole, also known as where I'm a shove mountains for that comet York Langer? For those of you that don't know what a langer is, I can't describe a langer. It's a noun, it's a verb, it's a thing. It's Mountains of Elysium says, glad to be appreciated, Rev. Yeah, I hate you as well. LOL. Yeah. Cork Langer has to go together. Oh gosh. I bet you guys are going to an Irish football match, or actually, frankly, a hurling match would be insane. I went to see a few hurling matches in my day. Yeah, that's insane.
Hur- What's
Oh,
hurling?
hurling is a game. Actually, how do I describe hurling? It's like with a stick and a ball.
Oh, yeah. I know what it is.
It's like a mix of lacrosse and um oh gosh, I tried to Google hurling and it came up vomit. Hurling the game. Yeah. Yeah. And it's unique and they balance that's the other thing. You can balance the ball on top of the stick and run with it too. It's pretty awesome. And nowadays they wear helmets. I've I've been told, which is probably a good idea, but just doesn't seem right. I mean, is it really a hurling match if people aren't bleeding from the head? Um, Jacob Ironson says, "Is that a murder hole? Put a cork in it." Ha ha. Did you notice a lot of the older streets in Ireland tend to look alike? Yes. Well, yeah. Oh, and then not Jacob is. It's like, is that a murder hole? Grabs mountains, eat. Female hurling is known as camogie. Mountains Elysium hurling is a game played for at least 2,000 years. Yes, and it's uniquely of the culture. It's pretty awesome. And it's pretty bloody. Or it was bloody. Now they all got helmets. All right, so I did grab a shot or so. This is from the movie Excalibur. They used the outer wall for
I've been meaning to watch that one again. I don't remember a damn thing about it. So
oh, there you go.
it'll be like watching it for the first time again, which is good because I remember really liking it. I don't remember why, but
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way a lot of movies are. And and I like this shot because it kind of tells you a little bit of what I was talking to you about. The folks trying to invade, it was really tricky, and so they had to go across here in the water, look at the horses and this, and if you finally made it there, then you go. They had to make their own little ladders and stuff, and then all the other people like just throwing things down at them and flaming arrows. Yeah. So this is one, and then here is a shot from this is the shot I was telling you about from the last duel. And this is where they were in this carriage. Matt Damon, not and Comer. What's her first name? I lost it. Jodie Comer. I do have a picture, though I should have. I don't have it right here with me of where you see them filming the scene, like where they're outside of it. This is some pictures taken by some locals, as you can tell here, where they've got the little microphone. And I believe this is the scene where they're arriving at like a festival where they make peace or something, but not really peace. So yay, there we go. Used another filming thing. And I do believe that is the last of my shots. So I'm gonna go ahead and yeet out of there. Potato Reverend says, I seen a hurling match where a guy had blood-filled face. Yes, I did too. Well, my dad, the company where my dad worked, they had like a company team and they would play other companies. And that's where I remember very distinctly the guy came over to talk to my dad after the match, and this guy, it was raining down his face. I mean, the guy looked like he'd just been bludgeoned to death. Oh my gosh, Potato Reverend says, and he said, I will walk it off. You see, that was the other generation. That's our generation. Jacob says Scott's invented hitting a rock with a stick and pushing a rock on ice. So hello, Flaccid Phoenix is here. I saw Braveheart in the title, so I had to jump in. LOL. Well, thank you for being here. Yeah, I think I've already passed the part with the Braveheart where they used the portcullis in the film Braveheart. Another castle that I will eventually be doing trim was also used in Braveheart. Mountains of Elysium says, I wound up a Google. I mean, sorry, I wound up a goalie so much in one game. He climbed the. Oh, I see. I've got it. You wound up a goalie so much in one game. He climbed the fence and threw his hurley at me. I was a mouthy langer when I was a teenager. Oh my gosh.
I had a guy who was about 40
Mm-hmm.
lose his shit on me at a soccer practice. I was 16 and I tried to tackle him
Mm-hmm.
and I was too late, so I kind of withdrew my legs, so I didn't actually hit him. But apparently it scared the shit out of him or something, and he lost his damn shit.
Oh no.
And he leaned over and just held up his fist, like, do that again, you get the fist in your fucking face. And I was like, well, I didn't touch you, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was like, doesn't matter. You tried. Fuck you. And then, like 10 minutes later, he came over. I'm sorry, I got a bit pissed.
Mm.
Like, it's okay.
It's soccer. I mean,
Yeah, but when you're 40, you know, get pissed off at a 16-year-old. I mean, he was twice my weight. Even if I had hit him, I wouldn't really have done any damage.
uh, yeah. Well, but I mean, to be honest, until I became a teacher, the fights I always saw were fights on a football pitch, a soccer pitch. It's what would happen. And then check this out. Then the dudes would be like, "Oh, sorry, man." Yeah, and it's like, "Oh, sorry, man, too." And they wouldn't, and then they'd go on with their lives. If women, we would, be plotting revenge for the next 200 years. All right, just for you, Placid Phoenix, or Flaccid Phoenix, rather. Um, Here you are. The Braveheart things they used in Braveheart. People are saying hello. And everyone's saying hello. Hello. Thank you for being here. Potato Reverend says, actually, Jake the Scots are descended from the ancient Irish kingdom of the Dalria. Their first king was brother of the Irish High King, and they had family in Scotland, aka Alba divided with love. Yeah, see? We know things. My chat is the best ever. They know things. And of course, the Irish are always superior no matter what. But it's true. Gosh, it's been a long time since I've seen.
Braveheart?
No, the word it's bringing something back to me. Ria, Dalria, Gadugadareacht. That's where that word comes from Ria, the root of king. You see, it's always weird. Sometimes when I see an Irish thing, I like have a flashback to my childhood. I'm like, I think I know that. And this, yes, it's usually a prayer or a song. Greetings, Phoenix. Hey, everyone's here. Look at all these people that are here. Potato Ribbon says, when I was at school, I saw my history teacher smashed a hurley off the ground. He exploded. Hey, I'll tell you what. I am always on team teacher when I hear stories like that. One of the friends had his leg broken in a hurling match, played on another 30 minutes before he came on. You see, that was back in the day. That was back before people were word that starts with a P and it has a U and it has another word. Oh, there's the murder hole. Let me see if I can get the rest of it. Yeah, here it is. This was also the part
I scolded my principal, like physically.
Do tell.
Yeah, we were playing football, soccer, indoor, in a small little gym hall thing, right?
Yeah.
For gym class, and he was sitting on a bench watching us because he was our gym teacher basically. I think we were like probably third grade or something. So gym teacher basically amounts to you're gonna just play football for 45 minutes, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was sitting there drinking coffee, and I was trying to shoot at the goal and completely miskicked it because I was shooting with my toe back then. And I hit his arm that was holding the coffee cup, and it made red hot coffee splashed over the side of his face, and he was roaring, and his face was steaming, and it looked, like Two Face in Batman.
Uh huh.
Yeah, ran off howling. Didn't see him again until we had him as a music teacher in the next class, and his the left side of his face was blank from burns.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was almost shitting my pants because I disfigured my principal, made him ugly, and he came up to me though and said it was fine because he shouldn't have brought the coffee in there, you know, because he realized it was an accident. But he was like, yeah, it was like steam coming off his face, and it was like roaring and
Gee.
running. It ran into the closest bathroom, I guess.
Oh
So
my gosh. Your stories. I'll tell you what.
that was an accident, though. It wasn't any kind of devilry.
No, but yeah, you have a way about yourself. Okay, Flaccid Phoenix, just to give you, thank you for asking this. It's actually very easy. You can see this is right in the center of town at Cahir. And yeah, Flaccid Phoenix says, yes, it's very easy to get to these locations. Dead easy. Like I said, Flaccid Phoenix, Dublin. We're all going to meet in Dublin. And I'll show you all around. And then we'll pick up Potato Revan. I'll pay for your ticket, Revan. You'll take a train up to Dublin and we'll just go and we'll just have fun. And in first class, that's the only way to go. And some free price. Yeah. A lot of them are free. St. Columba, yay, my man! I believe negotiated the independence of the Scottish territories, the Irish King Del Riatha, as they had neglected. The king gave them their freedom, according to my history teacher. Yeah, it's all connected. All connected. And if you can see here, Flaccid Phoenix, let me go down. That I can't drive when I'm in Ireland because, first of all, it's by stick, which I'm not very good at. And second of all, it's by stick backwards because you have to be on the left side of the road, so you have to do it with your left hand. So everything's backwards, and I would get somebody killed. So I never drive in Ireland. I never even try. But I do take the public transportation. As you can see here, here's the bus. You can take the bus straight into Cahir. There is no train, but there is a bus. I took the train from Cork. Oh, let me go back. I'll find it. Sorry, the bus from Cork, rather. And you can drive a lot of these places. Just make sure you don't pack a lot so that you can, either backpack it or if you're like me, you have a rolling suitcase. I can't work issued. Oh. Well, we'll find a way. We'll find a way. But no, I understand. I do understand. And see, who is it? What's it? Help me out. Which is there an Irish saint or is there a patron saint of this that I can get my people on? There's a big joke in my family that, well, to be honest, my family quit joking about because I used to say, just tell me and I'll get my people on it because I'm the only Catholic in my family. And I had a friend when I took her to France and there was a lot of situations that happened. And I'm like, I'll just pray to Saint Therese, my namesake. And it was just eerie. And I'm not saying I believe it, even as a believing person. I'm not sure I believe it, but she said, if Saint Therese answers one more prayer from you, I'm going to start going back to mass. The rocky road to Dublin. Oh, hell yes. Well, Dublin is Dublin. True story, maybe true story. Hey, I'll leave that open to interpretation. But according to my family tree, says Potato Revan, I'm descended from the High Kings. My grandpa took me to the graves in Tara and said they are the graves of our ancestors. Gosh darn it, man. Nice. Gosh darn it, yes. Amazing. Let me go back. And here's an aerial view you can see to give you some perspective. And understand, you'll walk about Ireland and you'll stumble across a ruin. You'll stumble across a castle. It's insane. We called them RRs, random ruins. And the last time I did a thing in Ireland, a Teresa Travels, that was in 2019 before the COVID, and there's a lot of people that are still a part of our whatever you want to call our community, and they were like another RR. You see, here's Care. I'm always hanging out in Cork, and so you have to take the bus to get to Care. A train does go to Tipperary, but I'm not. But it's always better to go straight. But Turles, it stops off in Turles, so I'm not so sure. Or if you want to come from Dublin, if you're in Dublin, why? But if you are in Dublin, you can take a train and then probably a bus too goes directly. To answer your question. Mountains of Elysium says, patron saint of Cork is Saint Finbar. Of course he is. Wouldn't it be fun if he helped the Waterford man? Let's do it. Let's do it. You see, those of you that don't understand, it's a matter of pride now. It's a matter of nationalism. It's a matter of patriotism. Cork will beat the Waterford saint. Darn right he will, Saint Finbar. Who's your patron saint? Let me know, Mr. Waterford man. Potato Reverend says, I remember for non-Catholic saint are not prayed to, but are more of an intermediary, like put a good word in with our God or Our Lady on our behalf. Well, technically that's what we do. We just call it praying. Maybe for a Catholic explaining, I'll talk about the differences on that and the community saints. But yes, you're right. No, Protestants don't even like to intermediary with the saints. They think we're weird for doing that. For us, the idea, of course, is that, hey, if they were Christians on earth, they're still Christians in heaven. And if you can ask someone on earth to pray for you, you can ask someone in heaven. And it's biblical. Yes, it is precious. Protestants, if they do acknowledge saints, they will acknowledge saints from the Bible. Like the gospel writer, St. Paul, they'll use St. Andrew. They might recognize St. Patrick. Well, by golly, they better recognize St. Patrick. They took the cathedral. And St. Finbar's. You see, that's what I always tell people. Be careful when you go to Ireland. If you want to go to Mass in these cathedrals, for better or for worse, it's just what happened. You won't find Mass in a cathedral, those old cathedrals in Ireland. I was Church of Ireland when I lived in Ireland. And boys in my class were choir boys for St. Finbar's. Jacob Ironside says, one of my ancestors was a knight of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. Damn! So he could have been an Indiana Jones. Mountains of Elysium. My family tree is a Prince Donal O'Sullivan Vere of O'Sullivan's March fame. He was murdered in Madrid by an English agent. Damn it! It's always the English, isn't it? Though I love the English. Potato Reverend says, patron saint of Waterford is Saint Audron. Laugh out loud, say his name is Martin. Go ahead, I dare. I said Audron, right? Is there a fada over the A? Did I say it right? Mountains Elysium, my saints are my homies. They got my back. That's cool, Reverend. Yeah, okay. We're having a competition. I forget what the competition is between the saints. I think this is quite blasphemous, but you know what? Who cares? Because guess what? Christians can have a sense of humor and get the sticks out of their butts. Let me see. All right. I don't know if you're still here, Flaccid Phoenix, but here you are. This is how you get there. What is Potato Reverend said? Last out loud is Saint Auron. Oh, without the DH? Wait, I thought there was a D. Auron. You don't pronounce the D? I thought Auron. Oh, well, okay, I got it wrong. Auron. Well, you know what? I'm going to say it's a dialect issue. I was right. No, I told you, I barely know. I only know what the teachers yelled at us, how to say I have a red bike, and that I have a black cat, and prayers and songs. Gadfly Fiction says, if ever in England have a chance, you should check out the Lichfield Cathedral, one of the three cathedrals with 3 spires, has all the Anglo-Saxon saints on its walls. Badass. Though I think a sad story is that probably I wouldn't be able to go to Mass there, but you know what? That's just life. I would be loved to see that. Yes, I have been to England on several occasions. The last time I was there, I was in Manchester, and yes, gorgeous cathedrals, because they're ours. But oh well. Hey, it's too late. We can't give them back, or you all can't. I don't know. I have a split personality when it comes to these things. Half my life I was Protestant, half Catholic. Mountains of Elysium says, Christians should have a sense of humor. I know God has a sense of humor every time I look in the mirror. Yes, 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 and yes. Potato Reverend says, my family tree involves kings of Ireland, Scotland, and UK. So on your knees, give me the crowns I claim. Oh my gosh, that is badass, Potato Reverend. I'll give you your crown. Still here, and thanks for the info. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, no, I understand people are in and out, but that's just a little bit of a site. And all the other Teresa Travels ones that I have that are in Ireland, I do tend to show how to get there. The best way though is to meet me in Dublin, and we'll all just go together. We'll hire a driver, or we'll get Vegam tours, or this is an open offer that my sister has. If you will pay for my sister's plane ticket and food and stuff and hotel, she'll drive for us, and it's a lot cheaper than hiring your own driver. And if everyone chips in, that's something that we have done in the past. And greetings. Oh yes. Now my dad could, but he's too old now. He's not interested in going to Europe ever again. Um, and okay, Pideverin says actually you can attend worship in a non-Catholic church, but you cannot receive communion. Oh yeah. Oh yes, 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 yes. Oh no, I understand. Yes, we cannot receive. Well, obviously we cannot receive communion, but I guess what I'm trying to say is though, if you're expecting mass, I had some friends who went to St. Patrick's in Northern Ireland, and they thought they were fulfilling their Sunday obligation there, and then they were like, something's off, this doesn't seem like mass, because they didn't know the history. And I was like, oh, I said, if you want mass, you gotta go, and it'll usually say parish, or in the case of St. Bridget's, because of course St. Bridget's Cathedral is no longer, it was also taken over. They actually have a St. Bridget's cross with the green on it. It's something to know. But yeah, oh yeah, I go to Protestant stuff all the time. Protestant, it's yes. My family's Protestant, so there. See, we don't have to be so stuck up, and I think that we should have open dialogue instead of being obnoxious with each other. That's my opinion. I asked the attendee where our father ends. If you know, you know. I asked where the R. Oh, you're exactly right. Where the Our Father ends. Okay, this is hilarious, and I know I'm really mean, but whenever you're at a Catholic thing, there's always that poor, embarrassed Protestant that keeps going, and yeah. It's a thing. Now, the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours forever and ever. That is actually part of the mass, where the Our Father ends with deliver us from evil. That's what is in the Bible. And then the priest goes, la, 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 la. And then we all go for the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours forever and ever. The Protestants take that and add it to the Our Father. I mean, to each their own. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, I'm going to Catholic explain the mass. I am going to Catholic explain the mass. I just yesterday Sunday? No, Sunday. I was just too busy for the catechism that day. But yeah, I mean, but go to mass in Irish if that's the way to do it. Now everyone's talking about their ancestors. My ancestors are completely nobodies. So there. I have traced my family to a shagging that happened in Normandy in about 900 AD. And it was one of Steeg's people that shagged one of my people.
Well, when in Normandy.
Yes, yes. And I have oral history as well.
Wow. So it wasn't his fault, was it? Vindicated.
I've been blaming you for years for raping. I mean, your ancestor raping one of my ancestors. Oh gosh. What I was trying to.
Turns out it was oral all along.
Okay. Oral history. Confirmed with genetic history. Confirms my story. So, what does Potato Roan say? Did you convert to Catholic when you said only Catholic your family? Yes, I did convert to Catholicism because I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm an idiot. I actually found I liked it. Yes, I. And if you want to learn more about that, stay tuned because a pub crawl with John Trent of Bounding into Comics. We're gonna talk about that while we get drunk, though we're not really gonna get drunk. It'll be like the 10th pub we've been in. Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing. You know what's funny though, because there's a lot of anti-Catholic sentiment. I mean, in America, believe it or not, Irish are pretty chill. But by that point, my grandmother, she got all passive aggressive with the rest of my family because she said, "I'm fine if you go to a Catholic church. At least that means somebody in our family is still going to church besides me and your grandfather." So there you are. I made everyone happy because, somebody, because that's what grandmas do. Great. Oh, wait. Get out of my. Okay, my cat is in the way. Just a second. And she yells. Great grandfather on my mother's side was a prince of Belgium. See, dag nabbit, everyone's so famous. I'm only famous for getting raped. My ancestor's only famous for getting raped by a Viking. Great grandfather on my mother's side was a prince of Belgium, whilst my sermon goes back to William the Bastard. William the Bastard! Marrying off one of his marshals to a Saxon princess. Oh dear. Mountains of Elysium. Everyone has someone famous as an ancestor. It's just recording abortion is not perfect. Yeah, I guess technically we're all connected, right? We're all genetically connected. Potato Reverend says, hey, your family aren't nobody. They all had look at Potato Reverend being a nice person. They all had life and stories, and they are people they love, and those love them as a amateur genealogist. There's no family who has nothing. They are your blood, and you're awesome. Ah, yeah. I'm Reformed for all Christians, the saints. Yes. Well, yes and yes. Saints with a capital S and saints with a little s. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Oh, gee, now I've got a song stuck in my head. But yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, everyone has their own story, and everyone is important. I just got done with the Manifest, which I'm so happy it ended properly, because if they'd have pulled a Lost, I would have just been so bitter that it happened twice. But one of the things they always say is it's all connected. And yes, we are all connected. Oh dear, we are many parts. I'm not going to sing that song. That is a terrible hippie song, and it's evil, and I hate hippies. Even if hippies had a good message. Yeah. So good times, good time. Yeah, that's cool. Jacob says, Peter Evan, I met a reform before. I never met a reform before. My ex was a universalist, Dutch, and she was weird. Oh, dear. Yeah. Well, see, in America, we got them all. They're all mixed together because remember, all of us were persecuted. So we all ended up in the same place, and then we all had to live with each other. The ironic thing is that now that we live in an insane woke psycho, I don't know what's going on in America, it's brought us together in a way that we haven't been probably since the 16th century, and maybe that's a good thing. We finally figured out what was really important, but I still want the damn cathedrals back. I digress. All right, Gadfly. 2/3 of Europeans are descendants of Charlemagne, and almost everyone in Asia is a descendant of Genghis Khan. So, yes. Well, speaking of which, Christopher Lee, because Christopher Lee is amazing.
He's a direct descendant.
Darn right. Because he was awesome.
I think he had a coat of arms as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe one of these days I should do a thing about Christopher Lee, like a biography, because that man.
Hell yes, do it.
Oh, you heard it here first.
James Bond, the franchise, is influenced by Christopher Lee. Because Ian Fleming was his cousin by marriage. And some of the Bond stories were based on the stuff Christopher Lee had done during the war. Because Christopher Lee was James Bond-ish person.
Yeah. Yeah, he was something of a spy slash assassin. Yeah, Christopher Lee has one of those biographies that if you didn't know it was real, you would be like, "That's the most bullshit, far fetched story I've ever seen in my life." You know, go back and rewrite it. It's like, no, it's
He's
true.
he's also related to General Lee from the American Civil War.
Yeah. Huh? Well, there you are. Yeah. So gosh, he's like Forrest Gump. Yeah. By the way, we are all individuals. I'm not, says Mountains of Elysium. Oh, we also got some more reform. We're going to have the Catholic town. Yeah. Um, it depends on where y'all landed. Jacob Ironside says, I'm Scottish Reformed and Dutch people are weird. Ooh, them's fighting words. Potato Reverend says, in Ireland, after independence, we got most cathedral back. Even after 1890s, we got more back. Well, okay. Oh, you know what? I'll go with you on that. I'll go with you on that because the ones that I remember, they still weren't. But um, I remember after emancipation, a lot being built. But yeah, well, it's complicated, isn't it? Because like the Cathedra of Cork, for example, it's over by Shannon and not over by St. Finbar's. But yeah. Um. Oh, did I miss? Did I miss somebody? How did I miss somebody? I'm trying to go back. Oh wait, I thought I saw. Gadfly Fiction. Thank you. Pops regulars or something was in the name of one of the units he served in between stints in the SAS. Okay. Potato Ribbon. The Catholic Cathedral of St. John's at across is the Church of Ireland, St. John's. The Catholic added papal flag so you don't get confused. Yes, and I'm not joking you. Yes, exactly. You just look for those hints. It helps. And or something green. You see something green, you know it's Catholic. If something orange, it's not. Though I don't know if they use those orange colors to have to help me at that because that can get a little complicated too. Dempsey, hello, drunken poet Dempsey. I grew up in a seriously Catholic house, Irish blood, and Italian and Wyandotte native, and Roman Catholic upbringing makes for a lot of alcoholism in my blood. Yeah. Though I would argue it's not the Catholicism, it's just the countries from where Catholicism is. But yeah, lots of drinking. LOL. In Ireland, Dempsey and MC family has castles, pubs, etc. Yeah, okay. Well, you can come on the trip. Frosted my cat dad is Cajun and Grip Catholic. Oh, Cajun! Hell yes, hell yes. Hey Dempsey, yeah, hello Jacob. Yeah, and you'll see a lot of that in the Cajun areas and in Louisiana because the French and the Spanish were there first. You know who really knows her crap about that kind of stuff, the history and all that, is La Reina Creole.
Yes.
Yeah, that girl is encyclopedic. Amazing. And she's done so much research on it because that is her ancestry, Spanish ancestry.
She had me translate some really old Norwegian stuff for her because she has ancestry in Norway as well.
Mm-hmm.
And she had found some, I don't know what it was, but she had me translate it roughly. It was like almost like a mix between Danish and Old Norwegian, though.
Yeah.
But figured out what it said.
Yeah. And here's a boy who knows his stuff too. I mean, it's y'all in Europe put our education system to shame. To shame.
But you know what, though? The education system, that when people go, oh, yeah, the European education system is so good. No, it isn't. It's actually fairly basic.
Yeah.
You learn the capitals of the countries and, where the biggest mountains are, and,
Yeah.
basic world history instead of just American history.
Yeah. Well, and I can tell you, as I went through high school here in America, and thank God I finally got real history when I majored in college, but it was a huge issue. I taught history for about 10 years before I became exclusively music. I had a double major. Actually, I'm certified to teach like 8 things because I spent all my life in college. But arguments like you wouldn't believe it with some of the history departments and stuff about how not only how American centered the history was, but how wrong it was.
Yeah, I spoke to an American who was visiting Norway or something, and he said the the world history book that he had in school was like 200 pages.
Hmm.
Well, the American history one was about 1,000,
Yeah,
and he said it was kind of like, you know,
pathetic.
yeah, he said, 1,000 pages for 200 years in one country, and then, you know,
Yeah,
200 pages for thousands of years for all the other countries, right?
yeah. And so simplified the way those world history books would describe different nations. It was better with geography because I also taught geography. Geography, because you really have to just stick with facts with geography. You can't screw up mountains and things, but it's pathetic. Like you'll have one paragraph for like everything that happened in Scandinavia, and they'll put it all together. So it's like, yeah, it's Iceland, Norway, Sweden, all that. They're just all one place, not their own people, not their own cultures, not their own history. It's just very, very simplified and
Well,
sometimes wrong.
what's kind of odd though is, even if the education system is bad or lacking or whatever you want to call it, um, you will learn stuff simply by living, basic stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, common knowledge.
Yeah, common knowledge, and it seems that's failing as well. I've had people ask, if Norwegians use Dutch money,
Oh dear.
and it wasn't a kid who asked that; it was an adult. Uh, so it's failing at very basic levels. And well, my response to him was yes. When we're on vacation in Holland, yeah, we use Dutch money.
Good, good answer.
Yeah, it's while the education over there is lacking, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not good enough. It's not terrible, it's not the worst ever,
No.
but I think it's also an attitude problem, uh, a countrywide attitude problem to when it comes to learning, and I think it's spreading to other countries because we have a generation now that has replaced knowledge with "I'll Google it,"
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll know it for the 2 minutes you needed to reply to a tweet, and then you forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a paradox that we've never had more information available to us and been more stupid, more ignorant, I should say.
Yeah,
And well, that's why I like doing these Teresa travel things. And I keep telling people if you can get your kids into a different country, during the summer, get their butts over to Europe, get their butts over to another country that's safe, uh, and see things for yourself, experience them for yourself, get different perspectives. If you can, send them on an exchange program.
yeah. It's. I saw someone in the chat saying that yeah, Dempsey says the indoctrination system in the U.S. is top notch.
Hmm.
Yes, however, uh, it's very easy to blame that on the lefties, right? Because
Hmm.
they're the ones being the loudest and most visible now. But if you think about the Pledge of Allegiance that kids have to do or had to do when school started every day, swearing allegiance to the flag and all that stuff,
Uh-huh.
how is that not indoctrination? because the U.S. and China were pretty much the only ones doing it.
I
So
see your point that
yeah, so there's points to be had the other way as well. Even though that bit has, to my knowledge, has gone away quite a bit now.
yeah. Well, I think we find this in many areas that people when they say they're against indoctrination, they mean they're against indoctrination that they don't
That
believe
they
in.
don't agree with.
Yeah, they don't agree with. I'm not saying that about the chat here, not at all, because I know
No,
exactly what
no,
you're
it's
talking about. But in general, that's what people mean.
yeah, and it's the same with you know, if you have an actor or an actress, right, yapping politics, and people are, actors should shut up. They should keep their politics, personal, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine, but then they cheer it on when Gina Carano did it
You read my mind.
because it was the politics they agreed with.
Hmm.
But it's still the same thing. She's still yapping politics and blah blah blah, and she's an actress, so the same thing should apply to her. Not that not that I'm having a go at her. She seems like a nice person and all, but consistency is a thing. So
Hmm.
if we're gonna bash, I don't know, Charlize Theron or someone for yapping leftist politics, then why are we okay with uh, Gina Carano or James Woods,
Hmm.
for doing
Yeah.
it on the other angle?
Yeah. I think perhaps a more accurate description would be just disagreeing with what the people are saying rather than
It,
disagree with them talking about politics.
rather selective outrage
Hmm.
in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, and that's food for thought. I mean, I because I was thinking the exact same thing that um I think that we've also gotten away from meaning what you say and saying what you mean in that yeah, you will rarely see me saying that or anymore uh that I don't like actors talking about politics because of just what you said cuz shame on me that I didn't have a problem with Gina Carano and I'm like, okay, I need to be consistent here. Or and not just Gina Carano. You said James Woods. We are not
No, and I'm not
singling
singling
out.
any.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just the first name that popped to mind.
And it was for me too. And yeah, so please, no one's.
I mean, heck, it could be Jim Caviezel,
Yep,
as
yep.
well. Any, right leaning one and every left leaning one.
Yeah, Bruce Willis. Um, uh, I called him Rocky Balboa. He has a real name, Sylvester Stallone. Yes, yeah. I just was giving the caveat just in case. You know how you have to cover your ass nowadays, whether you like everyone. Dempsey's he solid point. Gina and James are speaking against the grain. That is why it is okay because it is an individual saying not the entirety of a government system backed by taxpayer money. Fair.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
an individual can still be allowed to agree with the government, if
Yeah.
even if that government is wrong or right.
For sure.
I
Hmm.
mean, they're still individuals.
Yeah. But no,
But
I
speaking against the grain though tends to make you way more popular, and but also probably more honest.
yeah.
You know,
Because there's a cost associated with it. So yeah, I
yeah.
definitely see your point. Yeah, Dempsey. Uh-huh.
Speaking against the grain comes with a risk.
Yeah. It's no
Uh,
risk to toe the party line.
yeah,
Yeah, good point. Potato Revan, there is a rise in Europe of people wanting to return to their old ways, to culture, to patriotism for your country. Darn right there is. I think I've spoken with you about it, Potato Revan, that when I've been back in Ireland since around 2013, I started noticing people speaking Irish, and you wouldn't used to hear that on the streets. And that my parents' friends, when I went to visit them, they said, "Oh yeah, it's huge now, and people are even sending their kids to special boarding schools out in the Gaeltacht so that they can learn Irish." And a little bit of a rebellion again. It's like because they're losing their culture. Same thing with religion. That there was like a surge of more traditional Catholicism a bit in some circles, obviously not in all others, and more Irish language masses, etc. Let me see. I want to get to Gadfly. Kit Fitchin's teaching in college as a teaching assistant for now, you quickly realize that students have not been encouraged to make inquiries and questions easier. So darn right. Yeah, and I was one too, but I was one about 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. But yeah, the idea of being taught logic and also the whole concept of what universities were supposed to be, it was all about questioning. You didn't even have to come to a conclusion, but the encouragement of questioning itself as a method of learning. um, it's very, very positive. And the whole concept of devil's advocate is very important. But nowadays, you're afraid to play devil's advocate because then people think you believe that. It's like, no, I'm playing devil's advocate. You believe it, and next you know, you're canceled. Yep. Are you saying the left can't speak? That doesn't seem honest to me. I think you're misunderstanding. No. He's not saying the
Yeah,
left can't speak. No.
no, the left can speak, definitely. And today they can say whatever they want with no consequences too. It's the uh, the pendulum has swung way too far to the left. You know, it's almost at the edge, right? But uh, what I'm saying is both the left and the right should be allowed to speak their mind. And I'm saying we can't praise one side for talking, you know, we can't praise one actor for speaking politics simply because it's politics we agree with, and then bash another one for speaking politics when we don't agree.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be consistent. Either all of them shut the hell up about politics, or none of them do.
Yeah. And that's why I think a more
Yeah,
honest approach would be maybe just addressing what the
yeah.
actor said.
However, when someone, an actor speaks politics or whatever in public, they should all be open for being criticized and scrutinized.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're saying something in public, the public should be allowed to reply
Yeah.
and chime in.
And it's
Otherwise, why say it in public?
darn right. And like that whole meme too, because they want the right to be able to crap all over people and not get
Yeah,
crap
and,
back.
and yeah, it's kind of like if you have a crazy lefty, says something dumbass, and then people pile on the person because of the dumbass take, and then they play the victim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm being harassed. Like, no, you're getting responses to a post you put out in public,
Mm-hmm.
and it backfired.
Yeah. Like that idiot from The Mandalorian who, after the 2020 election, called all Republicans Nazis and
Yeah,
what was it? Uh, Klansmen and all that, and then everyone got really ticked off. And guess why? Yeah, yeah. And I
yeah,
put
and
this.
no consequences for him. Imagine if Gina Carano had called all the lefties Nazis.
Yeah. Well, and they
She
had
she
to.
would she would have gotten fired on the spot.
Well, she did get fired on the spot for something she really wasn't actually calling anybody because
No,
they claimed that she was doing it.
yeah, she actually said the same thing as the Auschwitz Memorial.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
got fired.
yeah,
And yeah, and I just wanted to highlight this. Dempsey does say, "Thank you for the clarification. That makes more sense." Yeah,
yeah. No,
imagine.
it's always a good thing to ask for clarification.
Yeah,
That's great. I wish more people did it.
yeah. The vast majority of misunderstandings are usually not misunderstanding. I mean,
Yeah,
misunderstandings, meaning we just misheard each other.
yeah. Usually, quite often, it'll happen because people have developed a habit of reacting instead of comprehending.
Yeah, and
So
and let me say exhibit A, I have that problem, you have that problem. We all have that tendency because we're humans, but we need to keep reason within ourselves and be willing to step back. I have never in my life had a problem when someone has said, "Listen, I thought I heard you say this. Is that what you were saying?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 it's this." It's like, "Okay," and vice versa. Personally, well, with a few notable exceptions, I have never had that problem when I have presented that to somebody. But I do have to just shout out, we have an elf in the house. We have an elf in the house. It is Lady T of the Stars. True story. I learned, I added true story because I have something similar to say. I learned more after I left school, self taught because of curiosity. Yes. Um, and with the exception of music and the basic things that you had to learn, like reading, writing, and basic math, even with history, even though I majored in history, it wasn't until I got into college that I truly started to study history. And even then, the vast majority, it was self taught. And a good teacher, I can say this as a teacher, even as a music teacher, where things really are objective. There's only really one way to do certain kinds of music. What you want to do is to teach children and how to think. And if you teach them how to think, then they can be inquirers of their own. Just like you said, teaching is indoctrination, educating is learning. Absolutely. Yeah. And when I say that there are some things that just are, if you're doing math, 2 and 2 has equals 4. It does. If you're playing, if you're conducting an orchestra, the conductor is God. You do what I tell you to do. The daggone violas, if you are coming in too soon, too hard on your crescendo, you're going to listen to me. There are sometimes, maybe that's why I like conducting. I like being a dictator, but there are some situations that are always right. But even objective truth right now is coming under attack. Things like that. It's the old school debate that has been attacked, the argument, not the individual. Yeah, and that's the way things used to be. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The friggin' 12th century University of Paris was more tolerant than the University of Berkeley in 2023. Go riddle me that. Go riddle me that. Yes, we're all preaching now. I'm going to start thumping things. Hi, Dempsey. Everyone's saying hello. Yes, we love Lady T. Just catching this. I will catch a replay. Well, thank you. You know what? Since Lady T is here, there is something, though, that my opinion is the only correct opinion. And I think Lady T agrees with me that Prince Harry is a twat. There is no in between on that. He is pure, unadulterated, 150% twat. Fight
Well,
me.
yes.
Yeah. Did you see how that fucker went and spoke to the army today? The U.S. Army. And I'm like, first of all, U.S. Army, what are you doing? Letting that little prick preach to us and preach to our troops. First of all, you're not even American. Second of all, he has said in public that he hates our First Amendment. Fuck off. Yeah. So Prince Harry. So you need to be tolerant of everyone except for Prince Harry. All right. Some places in America have removed the requirement for reading and writing to graduate because of race and are now claiming to be on time. And 2 + 2 = 4 is a racist. It makes my soul hurt. And I'll tell you, that's what's killing the schools.
Yeah, they're basically saying that one race is dumb and needs the standards lowered.
Yeah. Which is actually, well, as you said, the most racist thing. And I mean, they're even saying that punishing students for kicking the shit out of their teachers is racist too. And then they're wondering why teachers are quitting.
Kick back.
Sorry?
Yeah, kick back, beat the fuck out of them, and then get another career.
Yeah. Well, some have. Remember that teacher in LA who it was a band teacher, and he just took off his glasses and punched that little fucker, and the whole country was on his side. And all the kids in the school were on his side too. And one kid even said when interviewed, it's like, everyone hates that kid. We were excited that he punched him. Gadfly fiction. Those dang VLs always come from. It's the truth. And if you know, you know, you know. And then don't get me started on violins. Laugh out loud or bonk your cat again. Did she forgive you? Oh, yeah, Steve, did you hear about that? You missed me hitting my cat.
Really?
I know it. Yeah, true story. True story. It was during the roll 20 with Potato Revan, and I get out my 20, and Maple Leaf was sitting right next to me, and of course, as usual, it flew out of my hands because that's what happens all the time. Hit her right on the head, and she's like, "Blah!" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just hit my cat with the 20." And then Timon said, "Hit the cat with a D20. That's a critical hit." And I'm like, "You missed it." But she survived. She's still alive.
Well, feel free to reenact it when I'm around.
Yeah, Steve's been counting down the hours till my
If
cat.
you don't have a D20, use a rock.
She's actually sitting right here. Okay, laugh out loud. We need to form a new Oxford University in the stage age. Well, and lots of people are, and good power to you. Or homeschooling. I never would have thought that I would say homeschool, but holy crap, homeschool. Go watch my live stream of who's sitting next to your kid at school, and I'll tell you some stories about what led to me quitting. Besides, of course, Steve telling me to quit and me listening.
Yeah, totally quit and play Skyrim or something.
And
something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I did. The only thing is that I only defied you slightly because I finished out my contract, which is always best to do. That has something to do with keeping your teacher license. It's always better.
Smart move.
Yes, thank you. So I did listen to him. I just had to delay it. To anger an honest person, lie to them. To anger a narcissist, tell them the truth. Hell yeah! Oh, holy shit.
Oh, yeah. The latter one there. The angering a narcissist, telling the truth. That's how I get in trouble a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
However, the narcissist will never know that's their problem.
Yeah, because because that's the very nature of it.
Yeah, it'll never sink in. So
that's why you never argue with a narcissist. Dempsey, that's it. Okay. Oh, yeah. D20 is better than a rock. Well, not in this case. Yeah.
Oh, for playing D&D, yes. For getting rid of an obnoxious cat, no.
And then Tater says, laugh out loud, no Dempsey, D20 equals brick. That meow was just hilarious. The language from that kitty. And Steve.
Yeah, I hate that cat. It's insanely loud. Something wrong with it. You've done something to it.
I told you. I took her to the vet, and she's going deaf. She doesn't know how loud she is.
She's going deaf, so little fucker's trying to make everyone else deaf as well.
Pinello Reverend says, Alina left from Doctor Who is good men don't have rules. Do not cross me and find out why I have so many. Ho! I'm going to steal that and make that my quote of the day. Hell yes. And I kind of made up my own quote. If someone else has it, actually said it, I hate my life because I thought it was clever. I said, people will forgive you for being wrong, but they'll never forgive you for being right. Or rather, a narcissist.
Yep.
Yeah. Jacob Barnside used to, when a kid did something bad, they would get spanked by the teacher, the principal, and their parents when they got home. Yeah. Now you can't even send them out of your class. It's like, just let them tear up your room. Well, as I said, if you saw that video, what we're told to do is let the kid do whatever they do, and then you have to evacuate the class and make all the other kids go out and stand in the hallway. Yeah, because disrupt all the 29 for the sake of one. How old is your kitty? She is going to be 19 in August. Little baby girl. Okay. My old teacher says Mountains Elysium was an Irish nationalist, but chewed a guy out in class for blaming the English for our problems. She said, if you knew history, we are capable of fucking up ourselves. True. You can only blame the English so far. Because I'll tell you what, the English, you can't blame the English for what's been happening in the past 10 years in Ireland. I'm going to be careful. Yeah, I try not to talk about politics in another country, but Ireland's close to my heart. And, we just were like, what happened to Ireland? What happened? Well, I think we know what happened. But as the debate continues.
Liberalism.
Well, and a lot of EU, and you hate to say it, but
I saw an interesting meme. You know how empires tend to crumble after 250 years, right?
mm-hmm.
How old is the U.S.?
250?
47.
Oh, well, we're fudged.
Yeah, so it's kind of a...
Yeah. Every kingdom divided itself has brought desolation. Desolation. Every city or house divided itself will not stand. Darn right.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a funny. I think I highlighted about. Yeah, if you're not Irish and you don't know, or be careful about the color orange, especially in certain parts of Belfast. Yeah. But on the other hand, one of the positive things about the flag of the Republic of Ireland is, orange, white, and green. So you have green and orange and white between them, or Protestants and Catholics in peace between them. So there you go. Crispy baby. Mm-hmm. Well, she's a crazy baby.
Not crispy enough.
Potato Ribbon says, I have a motto. I have lines that don't cross my line and don't cross my line and find out. I have lines. Don't cross my line and find out. A bully crossed it on a very, very, very bad week. I did stuff I'm not proud of him, but I was standing at the end of it. He wasn't. Oh, good. I hope you kicked his ass. No, I understand. And we're human. Everyone has a breaking point, and everyone has that line. Well, humanity has that line, but yes. Mountain says there is liberalism as you have in the U.S., which would be far right in many parts of Europe. Yeah, if I'm understanding you correctly, I think you're talking about just how definitions have changed, maybe? Yeah, because liberalism didn't used to be a bad thing. It used to mean like live and let live and all that kind of stuff.
Usually, though, as a rule of thumb, if people get pissed off when you set down a boundary, right? That there is exactly where their respect for you ends, where the line of your boundary is drawn.
Yeah. While a reasonable or decent person is when someone tells you their boundary, you're like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, respect it.
Respect it. It doesn't mean you even have to accept the boundary. But if that's that person's boundary, you need to accept it. Unless, of course, it's something.
Well, here's some food for thought, though.
Mm-hmm.
If people get upset about you having set a boundary, maybe that is because they were benefiting from you not having a boundary before.
Yeah. And then it's like, how dare you stand up for yourself now?
Yeah. Like, shit, I was making use of this.
Yeah. Jacob says, don't F up and find out. Mm-hmm. I am rightly rebuked. Orange, white, and green is a copper coast of India. Miss Martin, get it right. Mea maxima culpa. Potato Raven says, my coat was on me at the time. Nice. Dempsey says they call my people the fighting Irish for a reason. Don't poke the drunk Irish bear. Oh yeah, well definitely. Well, don't poke anyone when they're drunk. I mean, it just goes down to human respect. Here's the thing, you you don't have to like everyone, but you have to respect them.
Yeah.
Um, and
Or give them a chance to earn the respect, I
y-
guess.
yeah, yeah, that too. I mean, yeah, of course, there's loads of people I won't. Not loads. There's very few people, but if I don't if I kind of steer clear of someone, it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you still lose the respect. I've always said there are lines you don't cross even with your worst enemy. That's all there is to it. Wrong is wrong, and right is right in some cases. Potato Burn says, you missed one above my coat statement. Last out loud, I will repost. Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't get the. I apologized if I missed you there. Um, I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of times. Now, they were like 5-year-olds, all right? But sometimes I would accidentally hurt their feelings. And I'm thinking, oh, for goodness sake. But I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. This kid who's 5, I guess maybe I tolerated it more with 5-year-olds. It's like, okay, it's like, as you get down to their level, it's like, I really didn't mean that. I am so sorry. I did not know that that was going to hurt your feelings. And gosh darn it, there was a reason why I had to ban talk of fairies, Santa, and Rudolph. But the point was, if that's what's important to your kids, if that's what's important to somebody, whether it's a 5-year-old talking about the friggin' tooth fairy, or if it's I accidentally said fairies aren't real. it, it caused perturbation. But you know what? At a kid's level, that means one thing, and adults have their other things too. It doesn't matter. If someone is hurting, you need to be kind to them. I don't know if that made sense, but if the analogy fit, but oh well. Mountains of Lycium says, Mother Angelica on I love Mother Angelica. Used to say, the Bible says, love your enemies, but nowhere does it say you have to like them. That is true. And she would know. She was a nun for 50 years. She had to live with a bunch of women. Gosh, women are obnoxious. Jacob Ironside said, Scotsmen and Irishmen are good fighters on their own, but mix the two together, look out. Yeah, well, there's a bit of a joke about that, probably apocryphal in the Braveheart movie. Yeah, that good stuff. Well, it's the whole Celtic thing.
What was it the one guy said? In order to talk to an equal, an Irishman has to talk to God.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I was like, humble fellow.
Yeah. Well, it's pride, and also understand, the Irish, the Scots, and the Welsh, and some of those. We're talking about Celtic culture, so there's an affinity to that, and they all got fecked by the English without lube, so it's a thing. But not all English. I mean, I love the English. I've got a very good friend that's English, because I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to blame an Englishman living today for what happened in the friggin' 17th century. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. But I would say maybe the Irish or the English government. I mean, I'll definitely say Elizabeth the fucking first. In Oliver Cromwell. I'll tell you what, Oliver Cromwell, I have no love for that man. Not at all.
He was he was a bit stern.
Yeah, to say the least. Actually, I don't even think English people like Oliver Cromwell. Gee. And you'll go insane when you go through Ireland. When I'm talking about some of those random ruins you'll see in the middle of the fields where they're not as intact as Cahir, and it'll always say over and over again, well, this place was just this great preserved thing until Oliver Cromwell came and blew it all up. Predator Reverend says Oliver Cromwell's called God's Butcher here. Bastard. This is a true story. It is true. See, this is why Mother Angelica was awesome. She was Italian. Mother Angelica bullied the mafia into donating money to build her shrine. And she said their repayment would be keeping them in her prayers. So the story goes. I believe her. It's true. It is definitely a fact that they, yeah, she they were scared of her. It's like I would be scared of her too. She was from an old Italian mafia area, and yeah, she'd be telling them, "Y'all gonna go to hell." So, stirring like the back of a boat. Oh, dear. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and have to bring it into this. Oh my gosh, it is 3 o'clock. At least my time it is. I need to get my what do I need to get? Oh yeah, I was gonna go to the pool store. I need to get some. I'm gonna get some more weights to use in the swimming pool. So I'm gonna ditch all of you for.
And if she's not back next week, she will have used too much weight.
I'll drown. Well, the good news is, most the pool I use, it's not deeper than 5 feet. So yeah, and I put them on my ankle. Like that doesn't make it better, does it? Because I do tend to put them on my ankles, so that would actually pull me down. Don't try that at home, friends. But weights are very good to use in the swimming pool because it puts less strain on your joints. And I have to be careful because I overuse my arms when I play with my instruments, with my conducting. So I got to be careful about using weights. I'm a Scotsman, says Jacob Ironside, Irishman and Englishman, and I'm at odds with myself. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, we're all at odds with ourselves, aren't we? Isn't that the way life is? Well, Stieg, as we wind up this party, tell me where you are. I mean, where can we? Yes, dox yourself, Stieg, please, on my channel, and
Yeah.
with the correct zip code or whatever y'all have over there. No, where can we find you?
Here on Saturday.
Oh, you're right, master musician. I mean,
Yeah. No, not for that. No.
magician master.
Mm-hmm.
And a master musician. And nothing with Mara tomorrow? I don't think so.
No, I think we're doing a top 10 maybe next week or the week after. I think maybe it's the week after.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, because actually, now that I'm thinking about to myself, I think she's doing one of those things with Orange Hat, one of the movies. All right.
Yeah, double something, double pick.
Yeah, so subscribe to Mara Jade. Jacob Ironside, or one of my mods, I think you're the only mod in here. Please go ahead and drop Jade Shadow's link into the stream if you can. I'd appreciate a bit. Oh, I know why, Potato Revan. The message was held for review and it's not letting me show it. So I'm going to read it. I can see it, but I can't post it. What Potato Revan wrote was, I did kick his ass. He was after setting my coat on fire? What the? Yeah, that's definitely crossing a line. He was after setting my coat on fire. I broke his glasses and ended up with him going downstairs and I snapped my coat. It was 4 years of that when I snapped. So in other words, he's a feckin' bully at 4 years of that. And then when he set your coat on fire, that was it. And you kicked his ass. Well done. Broke his glasses.
Excellent. What you should have done afterwards, though, is set him on fire and have him look for water without his glasses on.
Well, murder might have been a little too far. Yeah, I love what you said. If she's not back next week, check the pool and see how did she take a long nap. LOL. Put floaties on your ankles and be like that. So how do I die? Yeah, that might be how I end up dying. Yeah, and of course you can find me here for the Magician on Saturday. We are coming to the end on that. Tomorrow night I'm going to be on JT Gunn's channel. I think we're talking about like aliens or something. I don't know. He's choosing the topic. And then he will be on my channel on Friday for Pub Crawl. Also, John Trent will be on. We're going to be talking religion. Because I guess once we've drunk so much, well, that just is what happens. It'll be like the 10th bar, 9th bar, as well as Lyrina Creole, Biggles, Drunk 3PO. He's working out his schedule for next month. So please stay tuned because I think Pub Crawl is a really good way for us all to get to know different and new people, as I say in my intro. Thank you all. Thank you, Jacob. Turnabout is fair play, says Dempsey. Darn right. Darn right. Also, is there anything else? Oh, yeah, I do have my Raymond E. Feist biography upcoming. My Close Encounters Solfege is actually really happening for real this time. It's not just a rumor. And maybe some more cooking stuff, some strawberry shortcake. And I was at strawberry shortcake filet mignon is some videos I have. See, what do they say here? Oh, thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. I couldn't find her stream she was having, but here's her channel. Yes, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And if you have not subscribed to Jacob, feel free to put your link in there. He has a Tuesday night show, and tonight he has, I think it's an old movie y'all are doing. So yes, please be sure to sub to him. And if you wouldn't mind helping me with my watch hours, hitting play on some of these playlists because I'm getting there. But watch hours are tricky. Watch hours can be a little bit tricky with YouTube. So.
You and I and Maura will be doing a D&D stream eventually.
Yes, we will.
Probably not too long.
Yeah. It's tricky because of a time that all three of us can get together and do it. But yeah, we're going to do how to play D&D. And I think, Steve, you will share some wisdom being a DM and a player, maybe some lore, as well as stories from our wild and insane.
Yeah, basically what that means, you and Maura's going to attack me for doing this and that in the game. And yeah.
Yeah, it is true. The DM is always to blame. Oh, well, thank you, Dempsey. I do appreciate that. Look who's here from another one from across the pond. Hi, all. Thank you, not Brian. Did you near the theory Frodo didn't know Legolas's name? What the? Frodo didn't know Legolas's name. Not the 5th. I can tell you that. No, we play 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 for D&D, and then we played the second edition Conan game, which is similar to 3.5 D&D.
Yeah, it's like
but the Conan game though was way better than D&D. Seriously,
I agree. I think
way more common sense. It was.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. And yep. There we go. 3.5 the most. Yes, that is the correct answer, Dempsey. You will not be banished from my channel. Actually, I don't banish anyone, but yeah. Oh, there's Jacob Singh. Oh, it's Alfred Hitchcock's is Notorious. Yes. So if you haven't seen that movie, go ahead and watch it and then watch the stream tonight. All right. So that's all for today because it's very important. I also might get my nails done. I might get a pedimani, but that triggers Steeg, so he doesn't understand that. But if there's any women listening, you understand the importance of a mani-pedi. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. And be certain to guard your murder hole.